A theme common to many modern strategy theories is the idea of right process, that strategy in itself is a process, and what we're going to see here with must-win battles, if you remember, let's go back at our framework. So the top bullet point here is the sort of descriptive quality, and the first statement from the guys behind must-win battles is long-term success results from a succession of short-term successes. Okay, so if you think of it that way, there's no such thing in their world as sustainable advantage. Any advantage you gain at some point will be eroded, and so to succeed over the long term, you have to undertake a number of short-term battles. And if the short term is the primacy of your future success, then in the short term, every organization faces 3 to 5 must-win battles. Okay? So that's the description. Long-term success is a collection of short-term success, and short-term success is about 3 to 5 must-win battles. If it's with that, then the prescription, or actually another description element is winning a must-win battle requires a combination of intellectual and emotional efforts, and many companies fail at committing, in particular at emotional commitment. We'll see in a minute what that means, but practically speaking, a company has to follow a 3-step process to succeed. The first one, as illustrated a little bit by the double helix DNA here, is weave the intellectual journey and the emotional journey together. Now, you may recall I've been mentioning it a lot in other parts of this training. The second step is to identify the must-win battles, and typically, no more than 3 to 5, and each of these should be winnable within, let's say, 2 years, 5 at the max. Otherwise, you're looking at, too stretchy, too ambitious a journey. And then the third comment, or the third step, is fully commit the organization's resources and efforts to these must-win battles. And when you take a step back here, what you'll notice, if we continue our little games of the C, how do we describe each theory in 2 words starting with C? Here, we're really talking about collective commitment. Okay? If you contrast it with the other theories we've seen so far, there's an evolution. Now we're talking about collective commitment. Now, how do we do it in practice? Well, I'd suggest to you there's kind of 3 big pillars: discuss, agree, commit. If we start from the left, you'll see that in the discuss stage, the emotional journey has the primacy. So we're talking emotional at the early onset of deciding a strategy. They suggest that actually the prime driver is emotional. So what do we do? Well, let's discuss the emotional issues that are typically unspoken. What are the fears and hopes of all the participants, in particular senior management? What are the myths and taboos? Are there myths about the importance of scale or the attractiveness or industry, etc., that have never been challenged? And then, continuing with the emotional, let's discuss what success felt like when the company was less successful. Okay? So in this particular box, we're talking both about slightly negative emotional aspects. Let's really talk about myths and taboos, which may create a bit of tension in the management team, and then slightly more positive one. Let's recall what success felt like. And then underpinning that is an intellectual journey, where we do discuss here, first outside in. So from the perspective of outsiders, what do investors or analysts would say about the company? The voice of customers, what do customers say about us, competition, etc. And then an inside out, which is, let's think back about analytically what objectively gave us success the last time around. Next step is, once you've discussed a lot, you agree, and at the point of agreement, then it flips again. The intellectual journey is what really matters, by agreeing a long list of possible pressure points and then narrowing it down into these absolute must-win battles. And then that is also underpinned by a bit of an emotional journey that says, let's agree about what winning the battle feels and looks like, and also let's agree on the transformation that needs to take place on the way there, in terms of, in particular, a lot of interpersonal issues. And then finally, possibly, for me at least, the key point of this is the notion of commitment, which is, I love that first bullet point, the commitment from every senior person to only commit to the plan if they're indeed committed. If you turn the mirror back onto you, how many times have you, in meetings, sort of nodded a little bit passively maybe at an agreement being made by a group to which you didn't really subscribe, but you didn't verbalize your position? Here, first point is, if you commit, you commit. The second emotional commitment is to commit, and the idea of irrespective of egos and silos, commit to working together. if you take analogies in the field of war or sports or lots of collective, or art or the arts, a lot of collective endeavors really shine once the people involved decide to commit to each other. And then finally, in the more sort of analytical commitment, is commit to a single agenda and then commit to turn that into multiple action plans. Okay? So in a nutshell, what we have here is the idea that long-term success relies on winning short-term battles, and typically, if you want to win the war, you have to win some of the battles. If you lose too many of the battles, you're going to lose the war. So winning the war is about winning the battles, and these battles, 3 to 5 of them are absolutely must win. Let's weave the intellectual journey and the emotional journey to get everyone to agree on which battles are the must win ones, and then commit emotionally to an action plan that would deliver us success.